You'll have to wait with me a second. We're setting up the meeting on YouTube. The club has found out that this works best for recording. Here we go. All right, we're back and we're live on YouTube, so we can save this all now, which is a big help. I want to welcome everybody to the first class.
Jean, you froze.
Jean, come back.
Jean, you're gone.
You're frozen. Nice library.
Okay, am I back? I should be back. Everything's out. Okay.
Yes,
When it
back.
went to YouTube, sometimes it just takes it a minute to catch up. And that's basically what it did. We have now 37 people in here. That's great. I still have a few more people dropping in who came late, so we'll let them in right now and I'll get started. I want to welcome everybody to the big winter class of the Green Valley Recreation Camera Club. In the past, we've held this in 3 sessions on 3 days of the week. We've had attendance anywhere between 40 and 90 people, with a huge number of them being people new to the club. So what I thought we'd do today is basically, I want to show you guys, I'm going to introduce you to some of the officers of the club that are available this morning, to some of the people who are leaders for our special interest group, because you really need to, I don't know, recognize the faces of club members that can help you out with things. So we want to make sure we do that today. And that'll be the first thing on our agenda, so that they don't have to hang around if they don't want to and hear all the rest of the boring stuff. I'm kidding. The second thing that we're going to do is give you a virtual tour of the club, maybe. We have to work on that one a little bit. It's so difficult for us to get over there and film, and there's nobody in there. And it was a tough challenge. We'll work on that. But I'm just double checking. There we go. I have some more people still trying to get in. Gosh, I won't do that again. Anyway, and then after that, I want to go over the sessions of this class. We have 5 basic sessions, and then we have a bunch of that everybody should attend. And then we have a bunch of electives where you just pick the ones you're interested in. And finally, if you do a project, which we'll describe later, the Green Valley Recreation Camera Club will give you a certificate saying that you are a digital photographer. So we want to make sure that you hang around, take the 5 basic classes, take the electives, whatever interests you, and we will talk about the project later into the class. It's not nearly as complicated or as much work as it sounds initially. Now, I'd like to introduce you to some of the officers for the camera club that are here that I recognize. And then I'll have to ask and beg some other ones. But first of all, I'd like to introduce you to the club president, Linda Gregory. And I'd like Linda just to say a few words and welcome everybody. Linda, will you take care of that for us?
I can do that.
Thank you.
Can you hear it? Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Okay. First of all, may I suggest that everybody mute themselves unless called on? I'm hearing some background chatter between 2 people on the same computer, that sort of thing. So that would be really helpful so that there's not a whole lot of distraction. Jeanette, would you mute yourself, please?
Sure, I did. It says mute.
No, well, it's not. Thank you. Okay. Hi, I'm Linda Gregory. I'm the president of the GVR Camera Club. I had an occasion a couple of weeks ago to very briefly talk to a woman who is a photographer in the neighborhood. And I said, how come you're not a member of the camera club? And she said, well, I went to the 10-week class, or went to their annual class 20 years ago, and I didn't learn what I went there for. And then she left, and I didn't have an opportunity to say to her, you know, we try very hard to keep the offerings current, which is why in this particular session, you will see phone photography class and that sort of thing. So I know there are people who take this year after year after year because they always tell me that they learn something new. So it's one of the best reasons. And I want to tell you personally, I've been a camera club member for, this is almost my 15th year, I guess. And my photography improved 1,000% once I joined the camera club. So there's hope for everybody. Besides being president of the club, I run a special interest group on Thursdays on Photoshop elements, and I think my dog is about to bark. Hopefully not. Everybody is welcome to join me on that. It's been a lot of fun. I've been doing it for, I don't remember how many years, but a long time. And we all always learn something new. So in addition to running the SIG, Patty Ferguson and I, you'll meet Patty in a minute, run bird photography field trips, bird/nature photography field trips. And they usually fill up really fast. So if you're interested in photographing birds and nature, you need to really jump on top of those offerings when they come out over your computer. So I want to welcome everybody. I see lots of new people that I don't recognize, and some that I do recognize. And I'm very happy to see you all here. And I love doing this on Zoom. It will make all of these classes available at later dates so you can see them at your own leisure. So welcome everybody. And I'm going to turn this back to Jean, whom I think is probably frozen again. Hi, Jean. You're on.
Maybe I could talk if I'd unmute myself and
That would
follow
help.
directions. That helps a little bit. Yeah, Linda mentioned that, and I did notice we have lots of new people. We'll take a little poll next week to see who's new and who's a repeater. It's kind of a good idea. Who's using a phone and what kind of camera. We'll work on that. And in terms of classes and things we offer, this club is, we're not a community college. We're not a high school that teaches at night. We don't have staff resources where we can just hire somebody to teach a class. It's among our members, and they have to volunteer to be instructors. And if we don't have volunteers to teach something, we can't have it. And that's our normal drawback in terms of offering classes to people, is getting instructors to teach them. I'm experimenting with a couple of new things. One of them is called the HyperDoc, where we can a class ahead of time, and then you can download it and go through the whole class at your leisure. But they're just experiments. We don't know exactly what's going to happen. So if I'm the education chair, so if you have any classes you'd like, or any instructional materials you'd like to hear about, drop me a note and we'll see what we can come up with. Who else? Let's see. I've got other people waiting here. I see Patty's up there. Patty, why don't you say hi to everybody and just so they get to know you?
Hola. That's how you'll know who I am, because I always say hola. First of all, to the new members, welcome. It's been an interesting year, 2020, and I am so pleased with how well the Camera Club has tried to keep up with the classes, the activities, even though we cannot meet. So to Phil Rock, to Jean, to Linda, to everybody that's been involved, thank you. To those of you that participate, well done. The Camera Club, for me, to me, the best part of the Camera Club are the different field trips. And I've gotten to learn so much more about Tucson and the area because of the field trips that oh my God, we used to do. Remember in the 1800s when we used to go out and do some fun stuff? Well,
I think we
welcome.
did
And
60 last year,
okay, it's like, oh yeah, yeah.
ACV, Patty,
or the year before, I should say.
Yeah, it seems like it was a long time ago. Looking forward to seeing everybody in person soon. So thank you, Jean. All yours.
Okay. Is Neil on? I didn't see Neil was going to stop by to talk about the newsletter, but I don't see his name on the list, so we'll skip Neil. Do I have any other board members here? It's hard for me to run up and down and scroll through the list, but I don't. No, I don't see anybody else. So I've just gone down our list again. Nope, I don't see anybody else. But Holly's here, and Holly's a past president and one of our most active members. Holly, would you like just to say hello to everybody? Just give us a word. Turn your mic on, dear.
New to Zoom, old to the Camera Club. I really enjoy the Camera Club. I think for me, the best part of it has been the people. I've met wonderful, wonderful people over the about 15 years I've been in Camera Club. And I've done a number of jobs. One was Travelogue coordinator, did that for 10 years. And now Paul McCreary is doing that, doing a fabulous job. And Zoom works great for those presentations. Can you hear me, Jean?
Yes, you're fine.
Okay. Zoom works great for those presentations. I still am speaker series coordinator, and Zoom works very well for those. And probably I'll be lined up to teach a class on storytelling during part of this major class event that Jean has so expertly arranged. So I think even though we're new to Zoom, it's a way for us all to keep together and keep active with photography and share what we know. And so congratulations to all of you who are part of this by participating today.
Well, thank you, Holly. We appreciate. I want to kind of give everybody an overview. So I was digging through to see what video I had that we could use to share what goes on at the club, and it was really kind of difficult. But I did find a old video from God knows when that I'm going to try and show you guys in a split second or two. You'll have to give me a second to get it all started here, and we'll be good. All right, all right. All right. Finally, I can screen share with you guys and show you this. This is from a few years ago, but it should work and give you an idea what the club is all about. Can you guys hear that? And is it working? Linda, wave at me.
It's not working.
Okay.
No sound.
Don't worry. All right. That's okay. We'll start it again. No problem. Oh, we can just handle this with no one. You guys will just give me 1 second. We'll pick it back up.
I love it. A lot of old seniors trying to learn new technology.
Ah, finally, you guys. Thank you for hanging in there. We just found it. What I'm trying to do is get a video from somewhere else, and it's causing me a bit of a problem. If we can't see it, I'll just give up in 1 second. And we'll go from there, but we should be able to find it. Last try. Yes, we do have it this time. Yay.
Was in Florida, but my husband suggested we try Arizona. I was here 2 days. How can you not love the mountains? How can you not love the desert?
We're retired. You're used to having a full
Linda,
day.
can you hear it?
I don't want to say it gives you something to do, but if you've got an
Yes.
interest, it's a way to
Thank you.
express yourself and do things. And the Green Valley Camera Club offers things to everybody, and it keeps you busy.
2 other Rons just bought the P600.
Yeah, it's a good print. This is better.
Really?
Colors are better, more saturated.
Our club has been around a really long time. I'm going to be wrong when I say how long, but it's like over 20 years. And a lot of these guys have been the original members of the club. And so they've known each other a really long time. A lot of them are really, really good photographers.
Is there any way you could get those people out of the background?
Yes, but I'm lazy.
I like the people in the background. This was what we call Photo SIG. SIG is a special interest group, and they meet every week, Tuesday morning. Each person brings up to 5 photos to share. Some of them are really great, and some of them are just like show and tell from their last trip they went on. But we are theoretically supposed to give a little feedback. It's like we're gentle.
Yours? Yes, mine.
Are those flowers?
Are you drunk?
Special interest group where people bring their shots. The group critiques everybody else's pictures in jest and in seriousness, depending on the level of who the person is. The wind out there was blowing about 30 miles an hour at the time.
How far are you from them at this point?
At that point, actually, I'm using my 600, so
That wasn't it.
I'm a ways away, but they ended up coming right up to us. I like to travel, and I just came back from taking photographs of the polar bears up in Churchill, Manitoba. My wife says, will you look at the bears and put the camera down? It gives you an impetus to go to places where you may not normally go, to be able to get some images to bring back to show to friends and whatnot.
We try hard to get the entire range of skill levels here. We think we're one of the biggest camera clubs, period. I don't know for sure, but you have so many varieties of interest. You're not going to find any one person generally that goes to all of the activities. So we have enough to make 867 people happy. Our goal is to get to 1,000. We do a lot of things besides education. We do field trips out in the community.
Okay, now everybody look up between so we can see you. Now we're going to take several. Cheese. And the famous one. What is it?
Cheeseburger.
No, sex.
I think we are ready to get started. The tour should last about an hour. Everybody ready to go?
Yeah.
Awesome. So let's go ahead and go on inside.
You've never seen a younger bunch of old people in your life. They might on some given days walk circles around you.
The Gregory zebra is very highly endangered. It is one of the most endangered species in the African savanna. More endangered than lions and elephants and all of those.
Well, today was a field trip that I arranged called Behind the Scenes for the zoo. And this gives them a chance to see some of the things the public can't see, and they get to pet the rhino.
One at a time or a few at a time, we can come up and touch. I can't promise how long she's going to stay here, so if you want to touch her, right now is the best time to do it, and we're going to stay away from her head.
I take them on a lot of different field trips. We've done things like roller derby. I've gone to several ranches. I have a mystery trip every year for them. Can't tell you where it is, because I'd have to kill you.
There will be 4 photo opportunities inside. We have some animals waiting for us.
I'm just kind of learning. I haven't traveled very much. I bought a new camera and I wanted to learn how to do photography better than what, point and shoot would do.
I've always taken pictures, but we always differentiate in the camera club between taking pictures and taking photographs, because there's a difference. So I think when you spend some time editing it and getting it ready for production, I think you become a photographer. So I'd say all of my life I took pictures. Probably the last 5 years I've become a photographer.
Well, one with digital, the cost is free. I mean, you can take 1,000 pictures and throw away 999 of them, and if you got one.
You can review your photos, although I seldom do that when I'm out on a shoot. Usually I go home, I can't wait to get them on my computer so I can look at them. It's popular because I think it gives people the opportunity to see places they wouldn't see normally. And the camera club here is incredible. The one in Green Valley, it's one of the largest ones in the country. So you have some incredibly talented people, incredibly talented.
People who may not be an artist with pastels or oils or things like that feel they can get a piece of that artistic credibility themselves with a photograph.
Somebody admired one of my photographs and they said, "I'd really like to buy that." And I said, "Really?" And I have a wonderful business going. So I sell photographs all over. I've had exhibits all over. A teacher of 4th graders. Who knew?
All right. That's old, but it's still
Wow.
isn't it? Thank you. I had to dig to find that video. That's why it took me. I apologize to all of you. That's why it took me so long to get it started. It was buried out on YouTube somewhere, and I had to I knew it existed, but I had to really dig around to find where it was and to get it up and shown to you guys. So the background waiting that you had to put up with was me fumbling around trying to refine that video that I thought I had, but it was worth watching. It kind of gives you an idea of what the club is all about. It's about a camaraderie between people who are interested in photography. You'll hear them mention SIGs or special interest groups. They're really the backbone of learning in the club. Right now, we have a SIG on Monday mornings, multimedia. Actually, that's who made that video. And when you look at the video, it's newsroom quality. It was made as a group project with the people in the multimedia SIG. We have a special interest group on bird photography on Wednesday afternoons. We have another one on fine art photography on Monday afternoons. We have one on Thursday morning, which is really a Photoshop element special interest group. On Friday, I think we have 2 SIGs. It's called Rebel Rousers, and basically it's a special interest group for people who are interested in using DSLR cameras. So there's a lot going on with the special interest groups. We can add a new special interest group anytime because the special interest groups don't need an individual instructor. They basically need a facilitator, and different people in the SIG can then share information between them. In addition to the special interest group, we do have scheduled classes. go to the club's website, go to events, and look down and see what's coming up. You can register for anything online that requires a registration. You need to register for the special interest groups just so they can, at this current time, send you the Zoom links. So you want to be able to get there. The only one we can't do right now are field trips. We're very, very limited. Bird watching has done a couple of COVID distance field trips over to the pond and taken four of them. They've done four so far. So that's kind of nice, but we're really, really limited. But guess what, guys? In a little while, we'll be back to normal and you'll be able to have a lot of field trips. Now, if that's as familiar as I can get you online this morning with the Camera Club. I suggest you come to some of the SIGs and just sit in and watch. Now, the other events that we have that are really worth watching are, I just call them our big time events. We do one called Showtime, and Showtime is coming up the first week in February. You'll have to look for it on the calendar. Yeah, Linda told us one, but you're muted, Linda. It's okay.
Monday.
Monday. Okay.
Showtime is on Monday.
Okay. I think it's the first Monday in February.
Right.
Showtime is a place to present things and projects that people in the Camera Club have done. So you will see videos, multimedia presentations, gallery picture shows, materials that our club members have put together. God, they're good. I mean, it is really, really good. The other thing is Travelogue. Years ago, I hardly ever went to the Travelogue when I had to drive over at 7:30 at night. But I got really lazy with Zoom. I could have my pajama bottoms on, a cup of hot chocolate, and I know, or something else, and sit in front of the TV and watch the Travelogue. My God, it's like touring the whole world. It's beautiful. There's no words to describe it. And then speaker series, really, really good. And with speaker series, we are able to get top quality people to come in and give us a little talk. The club has actually done very well with it. Over the years, we have had Harry Benson. He's the Rolling Stone and Beatles photographer. And the stories he told us and the pictures he showed were certainly not things he normally does with the public. We had David Hume Kinnerly, presidential photographer for 3 different presidents. Interesting to say the least. This guy shot Washington presidents on $500,000 worth of photo equipment, and now he just shoots on his iPhone. So it was just interesting to watch. The ability, I will say that much for Zoom, we have the ability to bring people in from everywhere very easily. And I'll give you a quick example. We were doing the multimedia SIG, and they were talking about the kind of editing that's done for TV shows. And I was able to contact a producer from Disney, ABC, and she spent a half an hour with us. She went through all the equipment she uses, how they do stuff for ESPN. She does a lot of the sports things. And our members were just sitting there with their mouths open in awe. So we have a lot of things coming up. Check your calendar online, see what looks interesting. You got that big, free, expensive membership this year. Take advantage of it. You know, it's worth it. Now, we've probably used up. Let's get now to the basics of this class. Each session will last somewhere between 45 minutes to maybe an hour and a half, depending on the presenter. But most of them will be approximately an hour long. And I'm going to see if I can get a screen up, if you'll give me 1 second, and show you some of the really neat stuff that we're going to do in this class. Okay. Yeah, look at that. Share. Ta-da. Oh, I get a break here. Look at this. It worked. This is what we're going to do. This is today's class. A large number of participants are new. So we introduced the officers, some special group, interest group leaders. We gave you that beautiful virtual tour. Um, and we're going to attempt later on, you might get a little survey at the beginning of next week's class on training needs and things you want in the class. Hopefully you'll become familiar with some of the features of Zoom in this process, but I will try later in the week to email uh, to all the participants in this class where you can go and take a little 8-minute how you use Zoom class from the people at Zoom themselves. And I will try and get that out to you later in the week. And as I put at the bottom of the screen, please bear with us during this Zoom class. I'm kind of new at it, and so are several of the other people. And hopefully we'll get better as it goes along, but there will be some glitches like there was earlier today trying to find that video that decided to hide on us. Now let me run over what's going to happen in this class. If you miss any of the sessions, they should be available on YouTube at the club site. Today we're doing, of course, session 1 is the introduction to the Camera Club. On January 26th, that's next Tuesday morning, we're going to do a quick camera class. It's all about digital cameras. It's taken from excerpts taken from a Australian National Geographic photographer. He normally sells his class for like $400, but we're getting it for free. Now, online during the session, I'm going to show you 2 or 3 or 4 of his lessons, but we will give you the link where you can go back at your leisure and sit down and watch his whole course from start to finish. That's homework. And you guys will have the same complaint my grandchildren have. My God, we're doing this Zoom and they give us homework. So you will have that available to you as you want it. February 2nd, we're going to try an experiment. I haven't talked to her yet, but Grace Pitzer is our iPhone expert. And I'm doing a lot of work with Android phones. And we're going to attempt to do a breakout room on Zoom where you have all the people who are interested in iPhone will be in Grace's room, and all the people who are interested in Android will be in my room. We've never done this before, and it sure ought to be worth trying. On February 9th, that's another Tuesday, we're going to do composition, and we've drafted Linda Gregory, who you met this morning, to be our expert on guru. I like that word. Somebody in my class last year said they liked all the gurus who were teaching here. So we're going to have the composition class on February 9th. And on the 16th, you get a really rare treat. Brian and Susan Lavender are going to do a class on multimedia. And all I can say is everything they do is incredibly entertaining. They have hosted film festivals. They have filmed in all the national parks across the country. They volunteer to do presentations for nonprofits. They've done the one for the Center for Performing Arts and some others. So they're going to be really interesting to watch. And then after that, I'm just going to run through this. In that session 2, I mentioned we're going to do digital cameras. We'll talk about a little bit using the phone. We talked about both Android and iPhones. And I'm going to say right now, you'll be surprised at the quality of stuff you can get out of your phones. God, we go. Now, elective classes. We're going to be sending you out some invitations as this rolls on. One Tuesday morning for bird photography is already scheduled. I've set aside 5 Tuesday mornings where we're going to try and throw some electives in as we get to them. Just watch your emails. We'll give you all the details. And then there will be other ones simply online at events, and I will try and keep people posted. If you're in this class, you can expect to get an email once a week. And in that email will be links to some other elective classes or activities that you might be interested in. We want you to get involved in some of these. Right now, we're going to have a phone class. We're in the works for doing a make a book class, you know, the photo books that you can get from places like Blurb, and some other things as we go along. We just have to wait for our instructors to volunteer. If you hear a lot of noise down the street, it's me twisting somebody's arm. And finally, we're going to award a special certificate to all the participants in the big winter class who do a special project. What is that project? Oh, it can be as simple as submitting 4 or 5 pictures for a scavenger hunt slideshow that'll be presented to all the members later in the season. You might want to make a short video. We're going to give you a whole list of suggestions of photographic projects that you can get involved in. If you try one of them out, we'll give you your certificate, and there'll be a little form to fill out, and that's it. Now, as we do these classes, there might be a couple of the electives that'll require a double sign-in. If I'm showing or we're showing copyrighted materials from somebody, then it can't be open to the public. Like you signed in at GVR, sometimes when we use the room, you'll have a little sign-in sheet to sign in for this, because the copyrighted materials can only be shown to our members. So that's pretty much what the class is going to be. They're all going to be on YouTube, and you should be able to go to the YouTube site and take a look at anything you missed. Now, I have one other couple of little things that we want to kind of share with you. There's a chat room on the right-hand side, and people are always saying, geez, can I leave messages here? Well, yeah, in fact, right now, if you've got a question about today's class, before we run out of the 45 minutes that I allotted to myself, if you have a question about today's class or anything to do with the club, type it in the chat, hit return, and it should pop up on the screen. And I will either answer it or we'll get one of the board members to answer it. Right now, the only chat I have is from Mike Mcmahon is here. He facilitates the Bird Photography Special Interest Group. Mike, where are you? Would you like to come on a minute and see if you can share with us what your SIG does?
Sure, Gene. Thanks. Thanks for the invite. I didn't put formal attire on this morning. I'm just sitting in my recliner, drinking coffee and looking at birds flying around our hummingbird feeder. Again, as Gene said, my name's Mike Mcmahon. I'm been a member of the Camera Club since about 2006. I have a fascination with bird photography. I started doing that back in 2007. And there's Sandy McMahon is a facilitator on our bird walks. And I talked to Gene, it must be a couple of years now, Gene, I can't remember exactly when it was, that do you have a bird photography special interest group? And Gene said no. And I said, well, I'd like to start one. So I started it a couple of years ago in December, I think it was. And at my age, everything starts to run together time-wise. And basically, people, that's when we were doing it in person, and people would bring photos in to share. And we switched to Zoom couple of months ago, I believe it was, back in the fall, and I started working with Zoom. And the ability to facilitate the SIG has kind of been, my wife says it's a lifesaver. I taught for almost 30 years at a community college and also lecturing around the country. And I was kind of lost for something to do. Well, when I got involved with the SIG and doing bird photography, it was kind of a godsend. So I am not an expert bird photographer. I am not an expert photographer. I would consider myself an intermediate and a competent photographer. And there's two kinds of photographers in my eyes. There are people who have a natural talent for composition, capturing a photo, and there are technical individuals. Well, I unfortunately fall into the technical category. I have a granddaughter who was interested in photography. She's now 18, but she had a natural eye for photography. So one of the interesting things, one of the most fascinating things about bird photography is it's not easy. It's extremely difficult. And I've always expressed there's several levels of experience in bird photography. When I started in 2007 with a bridge camera, you'll learn about those later, that I was just happy if I could identify the bird by the picture. Then I got to a level say, well, wow, I shot about 150 shots. I have one or two good ones. Then you eventually get to the point, well, my wife says, why are you going there? You've already been to Sweetwater or the pond or Whitewater Draw. What do you keep going back for? And I tell them, because I'm trying to get the shot. Rarely, if ever, will a bird, specifically birds or animals, be in the exact same position. So what you're trying to do is capture that moment in time when it's what we call the shot. And fortunately for me, I never get the shot. So I always have something to strive for. The SIG is designed to share and learn. I always have a nasty habit of giving my opinion, not so much about the quality of the image, but what might have done, what could you have done better to improve the image. And I also stress experimentation, trying new things, because there's always everything coming out new. One thing I tell the people I work with, and I've always said when people ask me a question, if anybody ever tells you you have to do it this way or you have to do it that way, don't believe them. Okay. There are certain rules. People say, well, you've got to use aperture priority or shutter priority. You got to use what you got to use to get the shot you want to get. So it's really an opportunity for me to stretch my teaching legs and also enjoy the beautiful birds here in Arizona. And I also do it back in Michigan. So I probably babbled on long enough. But again, remember, the bird photography SIG is on Wednesday afternoons at 1:30. You can register for it on the kiosk. And also, I will be doing the February 23rd bird photography introduction class. So again, welcome to everybody new. Thanks again for Linda and Jean and everybody else. And I look forward to interacting with you in the future. Enjoy the beautiful weather in Arizona. Thanks, Gene. I've talked long enough.
Okay, you're welcome, and thank you. My experience with bird photography falls right into what Mike said. I had a great idea in Michigan, and I didn't know you were from Michigan, Mike, so we're good. Um, I had a big rock on my beach, and the seagulls were all around, and so I got some Cheez-Its and chummed the seagulls, and my ideal was to get her picture one of these beautiful white birds in front of that black rock. 190 shots later, I got a picture. Honest to God, I have seagull butts, armpits, legs. I got everything but the picture I had in mind. But I did finally get it. So I appreciate bird photographers. We really do. I see. Is there a plant? Is there plant and flower photography? That's a good question. We do not have a specific SIG on plant and flower photography. But you know what? When we put the next newsletter out, I'll write myself a note so that in the article I put in there, I beg to see if there's anybody who will facilitate one. And if anybody watching today was willing to kind of facilitate a flower? I'm writing this down.
I just want to make a suggestion. I mean,
Sure.
it really, your camera has so many settings, and to get flowers and to do this type of work, it's more where you set your camera to get a close-up shot. I mean, you can take a photo from a distance, but when you try to bring it in or crop it, you lose a lot of pixels. So I'm thinking,
Gene,
I think you
would
need
you-
a class on macro or you
A
know,
good
using
word.
using the camera to bring in close-ups.
All right. So you're volunteering to teach that?
No, I don't know how to do it.
See, yes, now everybody knows how much trouble I have. No, I'm just kidding. I will stick that in the newsletter, and somebody might volunteer. You know,
Actually, Gene, to be honest with you, sometimes when I get a good shot, I don't know what I did when I got the good shot. It's just, it
join the
just
rest of
worked
us.
out.
Kate. Join the rest of.
Excuse
That's
me.
why we do digital.
Come to my Elements SIG this Thursday and remind me of that, and I will show you how to get that information. Because it's in the file.
I'll be there.
Okay.
EXIF data, I think it's called. Very good. Do I have anybody else? Let's see. I'm just looking. No, I didn't have anybody with any big questions. Okay. We've done well. We've at least got you started. Once again, let me reiterate what we're going to do next week. This terminology that people are throwing out. I want to call it the shop talk of photography. We're going to try and cover next week. Jane had just mentioned different settings on the camera. Linda had mentioned some things that you could do in post-production. But a lot of the terminology you'll need to know. If you walk up to somebody who's really, really interested in photography and you ask them a question like, what's this little button for? You might not get a really good answer. But if you walk up to them and you ask just the right thing and you use the right terminology, they might give you an answer that actually makes some sense. And while they're talking, I did learn one trick that I do with the younger people. I get a lot of good tips from my grandkids and their friends who are interested in photography. I just keep nodding my head and I go, cool, cool. And they keep talking, so you get the same thing's true with our club members. If you keep asking the questions, you will eventually get the answers. But I think next week is a critical thing. We're going to talk about cameras. We're going to talk about how they work, and we're going to talk about the terminology, and we're going to give you some online places to go where you can get a complete online class that we're going to show excerpts from. So I hope we haven't lost any of you. We still have the same number of people we started with. I have a new message. Let's see. Somebody sent something before I give up here. Any questions for Mike on bird photography? You can email Mike, and the address is in the chat room right now. Jot it down real quick and you're good to go. That should work for us. That's yep, it's there. And I will try and remember that, put that in the I will remember to put that in the mailing that I send out this week to everybody. So we will double check since you don't mind giving it out. I wrote myself a note, and if I don't lose the notes, I'll be good to go. Is there anybody else that has any other questions? If not, we've spent pretty close to our hour, and I'm going to let you guys go. And we will see you all next week.
Thank you.
Tuesday morning. All right.